washing my brain with the candlelight. Losing my breath, losing myself, dreams are out of sight. Stop struggling against my demons. Stop thinking life as fiction. Eddie, burn, burn, burn. Burn the pain, burn the lies, burn the fear inside myself, and burn it all again. It's the right time to escape this cage I've been locked in for so long. It's not where I belong. Let it burn, burn, burn into the ground.
It's now official. Richard Allen was found guilty of 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of murder while kidnapping the girls. I cannot say exactly what drove it home for the jurors, but for me, it's the timeline. Can the timeline on the day of the murders establish Richard Allen as Bridge Guy? If answered conclusively, beyond reasonable doubt, we identify the perpetrator, triggering a domino effect that clarifies other evidence. To confirm Allen's identity as Bridge Guy, we must examine the timeline logically and sensibly. Reason over speculation. We cannot rely on wild speculation and conspiracy theories like Rick Snay, aka Delphi After Dark, to create reasonable doubt. Instead, we'll apply common sense. So with that said, let's look at the timeline. 4 juveniles were on the Monon trails the day of the murders, taking photos. One photo at the Monon High Bridge was taken at 12:43 p.m. and another at the bench east of the Freedom Bridge. After taking the bench photo, they started walking towards the Freedom Bridge, where they encountered a man. The witnesses described him differently, wearing a blue or black windbreaker or duck canvas jacket, hoodie underneath with the hood worn, baggy jeans, all black attire, short, stocky build, gray hair with brown accents, age estimate between 20 to 30 years old. Despite inconsistencies, all witnesses acknowledged seeing the same man in the Bridge Guy photo. Importantly, they didn't get a good look at his face and were doing their best to describe him. One girl said hi, but he didn't respond, seeming to walk with a purpose. At 1:46 p.m., video from the Hoosier Harvest store captured Betsy Blair's vehicle traveling eastbound toward the entrance across from the Mears farm. Betsy stated she saw 4 girls walking on the bridge over Old State Road 25 while driving underneath. Betsy parked, walked the trail, and stopped at the barricade at the Monon High Bridge. There, she saw a man. About 50 feet away, although the barricade is over 100 feet away, wearing a blue jacket and blue jeans, younger looking, with brown puffy hair. However, the specific details of his face could be an interpretation due to it being over 100 feet away. Abby and Libby were dropped off across the Mears farm at 1:49 p.m. Libby took pictures as they headed towards the Monon High Bridge. Betsy passed the 2 girls on her way back. She left at 2:14 p.m., headed westbound from the trails. Betsy noticed an odd vehicle parked at the old CPS building. Backed in near the building, older-looking car. Another tip described a similar vehicle. PT Cruiser or small SUV. Parked on the south side of the CPS building. Backed in to conceal the license plate maybe. Libby's phone pinged on the Monon High Bridge at 2:05 p.m. Photos confirmed Abby and Libby were there. At 2:13 p.m., Libby took a video showing the Bridge Guy, wearing a blue jacket, blue jeans, and a hoodie. Head down, hands in pockets. The Hoosier Harvest store camera verified Sarah's vehicle direction. But after establishing the timeline, can Richard Allen be placed at the same locations as Bridge Guy beyond a reasonable doubt? Well, Allen reached out to authorities regarding the double murder, stating that he was there in the area on the day of the killings. On February 16th, 2017, 3 days after the homicides, Officer Doolin received a lead sheet with Allen's name and phone number. Doolin met Allen at a grocery store parking lot as Allen declined a home meeting. Allen claimed to be on the trail between 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. His 2016 black Ford Focus was captured by the Hoosier Harvest store camera at 1:27 p.m. Allen initially stated he parked at the old Farm Bureau building, but most likely mistook that for the old CPS building. Allen walked to the Freedom Bridge, crossing paths with the same girls who reported encountering Bridge Guy. Allen claimed to have seen no one else while checking his stock ticker, though his phone couldn't be pinged at that location. However, his statement aligns with the timeline. The same interview with Richard Allen, initially misplaced, was rediscovered by Kathy Schenk in September 2022. Allen was re-interviewed on October 13th, 2022. Allen stated that he was walking across the Freedom Bridge. He passed those girls. He was walking the trail, but he added a new wrinkle. He said he was on platform 1 of the Monon High Bridge, observing fish in the Deer Creek. 2 key data points. The girls identified Bridge Guy as the man they encountered. Richard Allen acknowledged walking past these same girls, confirming their account. Additional corroboration. Betsy Blair identified Bridge Guy as the man she saw on platform 1, where Allen placed himself. Allen's account continues. He claimed to have walked back, sat on a bench, and left. He parked his car beside an old building. Multiple witnesses confirmed suspicious parking at this location, establishing a third data point. But it doesn't stop there. We have a fourth data point. Allen described wearing clothes matching Bridge Guy's. Blue or black Carhartt jacket, blue jeans, hood underneath, possible head covering. But is clothing crucial? While many locals wear similar attire, the timeline analysis reveals no other men matching this description. The 4 juveniles and Betsy Blair reported no other potential suspects. These consistent accounts and details strengthen the connection between Richard Allen and Bridge Guy. After 2:13 p.m., no witnesses reported seeing anyone resembling Richard Allen or Bridge Guy on the trails. Although suspected for a long time, Bridge Guy was confirmed to have had a gun, using it to intimidate the girls down the hill. Libby's video captures her saying, "He got a gun." And an unspent round was found at the crime scene. Toll markings matched Richard Allen's Sig Sauer P226. As we know, Richard Allen confessed over 60 plus times, but a particular detail sheds light on something only the killer would know. His initial intent was to sexually assault Abby and Libby. But here's the part. A passing van disrupted his plan, prompting him to adjust. He led the girls across a shallow area of Deer Creek, where he decided to murder them. The account of a van is corroborating evidence. Why? Because someone was driving a van around that time. His name is Brad Weber. He left work at 2:02 p.m., and from where his job location was to his residence, he would have arrived home approximately at 2:30 p.m. This matches with the timeline. He resides on North 625 West, near Deer Creek stretch where the bodies were found. It's a private road, so it's not something a lot of public drivers would be on. Weber's timeline confirms Allen's claim of being spooked by a passing van. Now, let's examine the entire timeline. 12:43 p.m., 4 juveniles took photos at the Monon High Bridge and a bench on the trail. At 1:27 p.m., A vehicle matching Richard Allen's is captured by the Hoosier Harvest Store camera. 1:30 p.m., Richard Allen places himself on the trail. After 1:46 p.m., Betsy Blair sees Bridge Guy on Platform 1 on the Monon High Bridge. After 1:49 p.m., Abby and Libby are on the Monon High Trail. Betsy crosses paths with them. Richard Allen, at some point, must have crossed paths with Abby and Libby. Why do we know this? Because we know that he was the guy that crossed paths with the 4 juveniles, and we also know that he is the man that Betsy Blair saw on Platform 1. And Richard Allen never said that he crossed paths with Abby and Libby, which would be an impossibility. It is beyond reasonable doubt. At 2:05 p.m., Abby and Libby's presence on the Monon High Bridge is confirmed by pings and photos. 2:13 p.m., Libby takes a video of Bridge Guy leading her and Abby down the hill. Approximately at 2:30 p.m., Brad Weber drives his van on North 625 West near Deer Creek. At 2:31 p.m., Libby's phone shows movement, longitude, altitude, and elevation change. At 2:32 p.m., phone stops moving, remains stationary. And finally, at 3:57 p.m., Sarah Carball spots a muddy, bloody man on 300 North traveling west. Considering the established timeline, it is beyond reasonable doubt that Richard Allen was Bridge Guy, leading Abby and Libby to their tragic deaths. Notably, no direct visual identification necessary. The timeline, corroborated by witnesses and Allen's own accounts, places him at the scene. Specifically, not only was he present, but he was in locations exclusively associated with Bridge Guy. There is no way to explain that away. It is my conviction that the jury reached the correct conclusion, and their verdict is fair and just. I hope the families of Abby and Libby find resolution in peace. I hope that they can celebrate their legacy, despite everything. Justice cannot restore their lives, but may Richard Allen forever face the consequences of his heinous crime, an act that can never be undone. Anyways, I'm glad this is all over, and I hope that the people who are grifting off this case, I hope it doesn't happen anymore. They can try, they will try, but I hope that the interest of this case wanes. Not the legacy of Abby and Libby, but just the case itself, the horrible things that we know about it, and that the views start to go from thousands to hundreds to basically nothing, and they will have to walk away. Anyway, I'm Rick Mullinax. This is Burn After Reading, and I'll catch your ass down the road. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.
Burn the lies, burn the fear inside myself, and burn it all again. To right time to waste.